I'm offering you an open seat in Formula One. The only place you could say, if you win, you are the absolute best.
I think we can all relate to being the underdog more than we can to being the world champion. Regardless of where you are in life and if you have achieved success, there was a point along the way where you were in last place or you were at the bottom of the grid. And so I just felt like that was a much more interesting story to tell. You know, a team at the back of the grid competing with Ferrari and Mercedes and Red Bull and trying to win just one race rather than the story of someone trying to become world champion.
Joshua, we still got 2 cars in the mix.
Then we've got a team.
He had started with reaching out to Lewis Hamilton, 7-time, world champion. I knew having him, if I could get him to partner with me and be on this team, that this idea of making an authentic racing film would be possible. I reached out to my friend Jerry Bruckheimer, who I'd made Top Gun Maverick with, because I just knew the scale and scope and complexity of all the different elements that had to come together to pull this off was going to be so important, and there's no one better at that than Jerry Bruckheimer. And then obviously I needed a movie star at the center of it, and there's only a few people that could shoulder a film like this, and Brad was at the top of the list and someone I always want to work with. And I've done 6 films with Claudio Miranda now, and I think we both follow the Sonny Hayes mantra of new day, new challenge. On every film we're talking about doing something new and different and trying to capture something that hasn't been done before. On Tron Legacy we were doing that with lit suits and shooting native 3D. On Oblivion we developed a front projection system for the Sky Tower. Obviously on Top Gun and F1, we're kind of pushing where you can put a camera and what you can capture for real. So we're both interested in creating those challenges for ourselves and seeing, what we can capture. And there is this kind of on set, this unspoken thing where we kind of know what we want, which makes things easier, but at the same time, we're always pushing each other to try to do something different.
Plenty going on here in the pits. Oh, look, here comes the new wing. This is a massive job.
There's a lot of similarities between filmmaking and Formula One. You need a whole group of people to come together to pull it off. It ended up being a really interesting marriage. Like, no one was quite sure how it was going to work at first, and I think they were very cautious about having Hollywood people come into their world and tell their story, but by the end, they really did embrace us like we were an 11th team. Lewis taught me so many things about racing and obviously the technical aspects, but he really gave me insight into what is it that drives these guys to do this job and what he's chasing when he drives, this kind of moment that doesn't happen very often where you achieve this kind of flow state. He described it as the car disappears around him. And as soon as he said that, I instantly knew how to shoot that final scene where Sonny Hayes drives his last lap. Having that come from the person who experiences it, and drives these cars week to week is so invaluable and really unlocked something for Sonny Hayes' character for us. Having Brad and Damson actually drive these cars for real was so important. Brad felt the same way and was willing to put in the 4 months of preparation and training to get to the point where he could really, wring the neck of these cars. Because you can't just kind of drive them and sit in them. You have to really push these cars hard to make them work. And you can see it on Brad's face, not only the concentration, but the forces on his body.
No, he's put the car in qualifying mode. He's going to run the battery down. Tell him to put it back.
Sonny, you're now in qualifying mode. What's going on? Sonny, what's happening?
What makes Vegas unique is that Brad and Damson were never able to practice on that track before we had to shoot it. A track that had no safety margin. There's no runoff. Like, if they were to make a mistake, they would go right into a concrete barrier. We had one 15-minute window in the middle of the night during that race weekend, and Brad and Damson were both going out for the first time. For me, as a director, it was definitely putting the actors in the most kind of precarious situation, but they were trained well. They had practiced on the sim. They had, spent so much time in the cars at that point. They were both able to kind of pull off a really intense sequence in that very short window of time and do it safely. You know, normally we have hours or days to shoot scenes. You can have 15, 20, 25 takes to get it just right. But because we were shooting during real Grand Prix events, they would often only give us, 7 to 9 minutes to shoot these scenes. And sometimes we'd have to do like 2 scenes in that amount of time. And so I would have to go to Brad and Javier and Damson and say, we'll probably get 2 takes, maybe 3 at this. You know, when you have the right cast and you have the right crew, the pressure of those situations, I feel, brings out the best. To look at the performances they were able to deliver in those short windows of time, to look at what Brad did on the podium at Abu Dhabi, where we really only had 2 takes, largely because Charles and George were just excited to spray Brad with champagne in the moment. You know, it really is more like live theater, and to do that with a film of this size and scale. You have 150,000 people in the stands watching. You've got all the F1 teams around you. Getting that scene in that short window of time and just seeing my whole crew come together to pull off the impossible, those are moments that I think of, when I look back, something I'll never forget.
We did it.
Yeah, we did.